Hey guys, Ben here. I want to show you how you can go about recording voiceover into your Adobe Premiere timeline. So let's get into it. So here we are inside of Premiere, and something that's pretty typical that most editors will do on any given project is they'll have to record a temp VO or sometimes what's called a scratch track into the timeline to kind of be able to figure out the appropriate timing of the edit. And then once the edit is finished, they'll pass that off to a professional VO artist who will then sometimes come in and replace the VO and then all that. So recording voiceover in Premiere is actually pretty easy compared to some other editing applications. And one of the first things you're going to need is obviously you're going to need some kind of a microphone. Now, in this particular instance, I have kind of a higher end microphone that's going into a universal audio interface. You don't need to have that. You can actually have something as simple as a USB microphone. And I'll put some links in the description below of some really good, inexpensive USB microphones that you can get, because that's actually probably the simplest thing that you can use is a USB mic, because then you can just plug it into your computer and you're ready to go. And I'll show you why. So you're going to want to go up to your preferences, audio hardware, and you want to make sure that your microphone is selected as your input source. Now, because of the complicated audio routing that I have a proxy driver here that I'm running my audio interface through. So that's what that set up. But if you had a USB mic, say like a blue microphone or some kind of a USB mic, it should show up here in this little drop-down menu, and you should select it, make sure that it's selected, and click OK. So there's another place where you can actually do that as well too. So if you right click and click voiceover record settings, you're going to have those same options right here. So you want to make sure that you select your appropriate microphone to be able to do. And while we're here, there's some other settings I want to show off as well too. You have a countdown sound cue, which basically gives you a countdown and then gives you a little sound cue as to when you're supposed to start recording your voiceover. I never have that up. I sometimes use a pre-roll. Now, the pre-roll, if you have that active, what it's going to do is it's going to give you basically 3 seconds before it starts recording to prepare you to be able to record what you need to record. I don't think I've ever had a project where I've used post-roll, so I'm going to leave that unchecked for now, and I'm going to hit close on that. So now that is set up, a couple of things to keep in mind here. So when you click on this to start recording, so we're going to click on that. See, we have this little 3-second pre-roll, but it's going to start recording where I actually had the current time indicator at. So this is recording right here. This is going, and we're recording. You're not seeing anything show up in the timeline, and you won't see anything until you hit the spacebar to stop the play, which I will do right there. And as you can see, it shows up at. So this is recording right here. So it shows up right there. So one of the things I wanted to mention is it's important. There's a couple of things that you can do. You can actually select an in and out point, in and out point. And so what'll happen now when you hit record, actually, I wanted to show something else to you. You could also hit the record button here. And you want to make sure that the enable track for recording is also active. So that is recording. So if you put an in and out point in your timeline, it will only record within that in and out point. So if we were to hit record now, so let's hit record here, and then we'll hit the space bar. So if we were to record audio now, it's going to stop recording when it hits that out point right there. And then that audio that you just recorded is only within that in and out point. There's one other thing that I wanted to show you. Sometimes, and in most instances, when you're recording voiceover or recording anything with a microphone or with a voice, it's usually going to be in mono. Now here inside of Premiere, most of your tracks that you're going to set up are going to be stereo tracks, but there is a way to get a mono track if you wanted that, or if you needed that, and that would be to go to right click on the track header and hit add tracks, and then you're going to, I want 0 video tracks, I want 1 audio track, and it's going to go after audio 13. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of standard, which is basically your stereo, I'm going to go to mono, and I'm going to leave your audio submix tracks set to 0, and I'm going to click OK. So now it's going to give me track 14 basically right here. So if I go over to, let's see, if I go over to track 14, which is right here, I'm going to enable that one. I don't need that enabled, so I'm going to uncheck that one. So track 14 is enabled. So now I'm going to get rid of my in and out point. So now when I start recording, I'm going to hit record button here. To stop recording. So now as I start recording here, it's going to record in mono on track 14, and when we stop here, we're going to see that right there. Now, what happens if, in this particular instance, because I have have multiple ins and outs on this audio interface, it is possible to have your mono microphone going into a stereo track, and this is what it looks like when that happens. I'm going to disable track 14. I'm going to enable track 1, which is where we were initially recording our VO, and then I'm going to hit record there, and I'm going to start recording. And what you're going to see here is, after I hit stop, is you're going to see that there we go. So what you're going to see here is, let's scroll over there, right there, and you're going to see right here, I have the mono microphone going into the, I think that's the left channel, and yeah. And what you're going to see here is, so you're only hearing it on the left side. Now to fix that, to get it to play on both the left and the right, you can right click on your clip, and you can go to audio channels, and you can make sure that your left and right are basically going into the same output, so to speak. So if we click OK, now we see both. Now we see it. What you're going to see here is, after I hit, we see that mono source going, or I should say outputting to left and right, so you hear it in stereo. So that's it for this particular video. If you got value out of that, I'd appreciate it if you gave me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I try and answer any and every comment that comes through. And that's it for me. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.